Hey there guys, welcome to the next tutorial here on the Duct Tape Stuff channel. We're going to be making a Nintendo DS travel case in this tutorial, so let's not waste any time and get started on making our Nintendo DS travel case. Okay, so for this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a case for Nintendo DSi. It's one of the more popular models and it's come out fairly recently. There are a lot of different kinds of DS models, so you guys can make a case here for any size you want. You're just going to have to, mess around with the measurements a little bit until you get the right size that you want for your own model DS. So I don't actually have one, so I had to come up with one out of cardboard here, put some Mario tape on it, which seemed pretty appropriate. And it's just cardboard, and you have like the DS on the inside there. And it's roughly the same exact size. It's about 5.5 inches long, about 3 inches high. And one thing it doesn't actually copy is the depth of it, which is about 0.74 inches. So we're going to compensate for that when we do make our case. So let's get started here on making the case first. Alright, so our first step, we're going to cut out several strips of tape in the color that you want that are 6 inches long. And we're going to peel those up and start sticking them together. And these small little pieces over here are going to simulate the game cartridges when we come to that point. But we haven't come to that point yet. We're just going to make the case first. So you can stick your first two together just like that. Take your third one and you're going to be cutting out a few more. So definitely get used to that. So you're going to peel these up. And you're going to keep applying your strips here back and forth, overlapping, back and forth over the sheet here until you get a sheet that's 6 3/4 inches long. So it's going to come to about down here, and you want to keep cutting out those strips and applying them back and forth until you get a sheet that's 6 3/4 inches long. Then we'll move on to our next step. Alright, so this is what it looks like after we've gotten our sheet. It's 6 3/4 inches high, and now we can take our DSi here, or our DS, and we can stick it in here. And you'll notice that it actually comes right to the top. If you want to make your case a little bit bigger, you just have to expand this this flap down a little bit more, and that'll make your case bigger. Now, if you really notice, all I have to do is really seal up the sides. But remember, this isn't actually a game system. This is two pieces of cardboard made to look like one. So what we have to do is to make this pouch a little bit bigger on the sides to compensate for the thickness of the system. So we have to cut out 2 strips of tape that are 3 inches, stick them together like that, and then cut out another 3-inch strip, and this one we're going to cut in half. And we're very simply just going to connect this on the sides here. Now, like I said, I don't have to do it for this actual thing, but since it's just a piece of cardboard, it's not really an accurate representation of the game system because it's not as thick. So I'm showing you guys exactly how you would do it if you did have your game system in there. So I'm gonna puff this out a little bit, and that will allow the pouch to puff out when you have your game system in there. So you can see that there. So next do the exact same thing on the other side, and then we'll work on the flap that's going to go over for the game cartridges right here. Alright, so to make a spot for your games, all you have to do is cut out 4 more strips that are 6 inches long and apply them so that you have a sheet that is a little over 3 inches high, and it's going to be the same size as the case up here. And then all we need to do is cut out another 6-inch strip here, and we're just going to simply attach it to the side of the case here. Just real simple. Wrap that around like that. And then all we have to do is form a few little pockets on here, and we'll pretty much have our game case here completed. So let's work on that next. So now we come to my makeshift game cartridges, which are also cardboard. I'm pretty sure they're almost exactly the size of a DS game, but you might have to make them a little bit smaller or bigger depending on what you want. So you're going to cut out a strip of tape that is a little over 1 inch, probably about 1.5 inches here, and we're just going to fold it in half like this. Be careful to make sure there's no sticky sides showing. So we're going to stick it together like that. Then we're going to take another strip that's roughly that same size, and we're just going to cut out a smaller piece from it, and it's real simple here. We're just going to cover that up on the bottom. It's kind of like you're making a credit card holder, except it's a whole lot smaller. And you're just going to take another strip, stick that for the side, and then another strip for the other side, and I'll flip it over so you can see what it looks like. So there's the pocket right there, and those are the connectors on the sides and bottom. So now what we're going to do is put it anywhere on our piece up here, and you can see I have the other two all tucked in up there. We'll stick it on just like that, and we're going to slide our game in just like that. And you want to make sure these are nice and snug because you don't want to lose your games, because let's face it, they're expensive. And you also want to make sure when you're making these not to leave any sticky side exposed, because that's just going to wreak havoc with the connectors on your games, and you're just going to get them all gunked up with adhesive. So make sure that they're all stuck down so that the sides, there isn't any adhesive showing on the inside. And then you will have your duct tape DS case. So now we're going to work on a small strap at the top, and that'll keep our DS or our DSI inside the case here. So for the strap, it's really simple. Just attach a little piece to the top here with some different color tape if you want to. That'll reach over the gap here, and you can slip your game system into here. You have all your games in here, and then you can just put a little spot of Velcro or something like that on there, and this will wrap around and keep your Game Boy in there. And then you can just put a little piece of Velcro, and that'll stick that there, and it'll also prevent the games from falling out and anything like that. So that's how to make a duct tape DS case. Like I said, there are a ton of different models of DSs. This one's kind of a DSI. This is what this one was modeled after, this piece of cardboard. So you can definitely make them for a variety of different kinds. Just make sure you follow the measurements. You can usually look up the measurements for all the models. Fairly simple. It's very easy to find them online. So good luck in making this case, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. We'll catch you next time. Woohoo!